Appreciation, honoring visionary entrepreneurs. Every truly exceptional outdoor experience, be it a world-class sporting clays course or a premier bird hunting lodge, fundamentally begins with the vision and dedication of its owner. Some are just starting their journey, while others have years of passion poured into their establishment. What draws me in is seeking out those brave entrepreneurs who've built something truly special and, more importantly, are eager to share their passion with like-minded enthusiasts who understand the meticulous effort behind a curated experience. Finding these remarkable locations goes beyond typical industry endorsements. It's about the genuine power of word-of-mouth connections. Since taking on the publishing responsibilities for the Upland Almanac, my network has expanded, and my curiosity has only deepened. It's an ask and they will tell kind of exploration, which I'm excited to share with our readers, extending an invitation to those who wish to join in this unique style of outdoor adventure. Ultimately, it all boils down to collecting experiences, forging lasting memories, and building genuine friendships. I'd never set foot in Georgia, and while I have my own list of dream species or locales, I'm often guided by a strong instinct to extend my local hunting seasons. My visit to Fishing Creek Farms in Union Point proved that trusting those instincts always pays off. Witnessing Nate's unbridled Christmas morning excitement as he experienced his first quail hunt, entirely outside his usual sphere, truly highlighted why we started hosting these trips. We hope to encourage others to heed our words and visit these remarkable destinations themselves. In the middle of December, 65 and 70-degree days are a welcome shock to the system of any Northwoods hunter. On the tail end of a 12-degree weekend, hunting ruffed grouse and diver ducks in the St. Lawrence Valley, my plane touched down in the winter warmth of Atlanta, Georgia. Ernie Foster had invited me on a southern safari of sorts, hunting bobwhite quail at Fishing Creek Farms. The day before the trip, I stowed my frozen waders, put up my icy decoys, and temporarily traded my tired orange Orvis vest for a clean dress shirt and a travel bag. I daydreamed as I headed south, eager for the change of pace. I'd spent the last 4 seasons learning as much as possible about ruffed grouse hunting. All I'd known of bobwhite quail I'd learned from Jimmy Buffett and Robert Rourke. As for the locale, I might as well have been headed for Mars. I'd never seen Georgia, never smelled it, tasted it, or heard its sounds. I arrived late in the evening and met Ernie at the rental car. We pointed our headlights east toward Union Point, and after putting the bright city lights behind us, we checked into a hotel to get some rest. The next morning, we had a proper breakfast at Waffle House, a staple of any southern adventure. It was Ernie's first trip to Waffle House, which struck me. He was introducing me to quail. It was the least I could do to introduce him to the lingo and charm of another American institution. He's a smothered, covered, and capped man, if you're wondering. Fueled with plenty of coffee and hash browns, we drove on toward Fishing Creek. It was foggy and 64 degrees as we rolled off the highway and into the pines. Talking about life and old shotguns, Ernie and I shared our mutual excitement about what that afternoon might bring. He hadn't been here before either, but he had hunted quail. He and his crew used to take a winter trip south each year to treat and train their dogs. We talked about those trips. We talked a lot about dogs. We always do. As we drove through the farm's entrance and up to the lodge, we were first met by Brandy Trull, reservations and office manager. Brandy welcomed us to the farm with unmatched geniality and warmth. We set up shop in the picturesque side-by-side building to take a load off and await our afternoon with Rob. Rob Taylor, owner of Fishing Creek Farms, came through the door of the side-by-side shadowed by a young, rather attractive black lab. Rob had the immediate feeling of an old friend. Riley, the lab, was an up-and-comer that acted the part of an FCF staff member more so than solely a hunting dog. We made our introductions and spent some time chatting about our backgrounds, travel, and upland hunting. Rob's initiation came by following his grandfather and the dogs around the local farms and fields as a boy. Those memories fuel his passion to this day, and it shows. He purchased Fishing Creek Farms in 2002 to carry on the family traditions of hunting and the outdoor lifestyle. Over time, he expanded the property and its purpose. He built a quality land management team and wing shooting staff and added an Orvis-endorsed shooting area with a gorgeous 5-stand facility. He also assists other landowners with property management and development and works tirelessly throughout the year to implement the principles of forestry and fire to improve the habitat and hunting experiences at FCF. Fishing Creek Farms is one of the most impressive places I've ever hung my hat. The setting is intimate and cozy, and the amenities are immaculate. The family atmosphere is palpable, a top priority of Rob and his team. It's friends and food and relaxation with every ounce of Georgia charm that you could ever imagine. Ernie and I made camp in the beautiful over-under, building and prepared for our first hunt of the trip. The next few hours were a heavenly treat. Rob told stories of his roots in quail hunting, of his grandfather and an old humpback browning. He spoke of the pointers of forever and the cockers of the last couple decades, of the beauty of a strong flying bobwhite, the habitat and his years of learning how to manage it properly, of the dogs, the staff, their home at the farm, and the tradition of it all. In what felt like no time, the first dog was on point. We made our approach, and Will, our guide and a 10-year veteran of FCF, sent a young cocker for the flush. That first covey rise is seared perfectly in my memory. Unlike anything I've ever seen, it was so powerful, so impressive. In the awesome excitement of it all, I nearly forgot to shoot. The flushed birds flew fast, low and strong. The cocker's fervor and the pointer's stoicism made a good match for their worthy adversary. The quail won each time, even if we did manage to bring our fair share to hand. The habitat around us looked as though an illustration of classic southern quail hunting had come to life before my eyes. With pine and broom sedge as a backdrop for the afternoon sun, the viewscapes alone make a hunter feel spoiled just to be there. Not to mention the abundance of covey rises, first-rate dog power, and great company in Rob and his team. That first afternoon was unforgettable. Back at the lodge, we gathered around a crackling outdoor fire as Chef Tina graced us with the first of many memorable morsels. Over a hearty spread including Thai quail and peanut sauce and lamb lollipops, we spent a while enjoying the company of our campmates and getting to know the FCF staff. Brandy, Will, Ben, Brianna, and Lauren invested us with stories of guiding, hunting, and working all around the world. If I didn't know better, I would have thought the staff were an actual family, made up of Rob's children and close relatives. They're longtime employees who seem to truly love their jobs and take great pride in working for Rob. Being there with them at the farm gave me an immediate sense of belonging. Over 1,000 miles from my house and family, it felt like home. Before we knew it, we were ushered to the main dining room where Chef Tina delighted us with a 5-star steak dinner and the best chocolate cake I've ever had. We shared the table with a crew of college roommates from Texas who have been hunting together every year since the 1980s. Their lifelong commitment to friendship was inspiring, and it was a pleasure to break bread alongside them. After dinner, the bonfire was stoked and cocktails refreshed. We enjoyed a long and wonderful conversation about the past, present, and future of hunting. Of course, we also talked about dogs. As I crawled into bed that first night, my face sore from smiling and my mind overflowing with new memories from a day well spent, I couldn't help drawing comparisons and contrasts between this totally new Upland experience and the one I know and love already. I thought of the dogs and imagined recreating the pointer-cocker combination in the ruffed grouse woods. I felt thankful for warm weather in December and the gift of abundant birds. I wondered if our woodcock migrate through here, stopping along that little seep that runs through the pines. I wondered if my own dog would like quail as much as Rob's did. With a mind full of pleasant thoughts, I fell soundly asleep. At breakfast, everyone seemed so bright and refreshed. Chef Tina prepared us for the day's hunt with gorgeous omelets, bacon, and fresh fruit. There was plenty of coffee and good conversation ranging from fishing to football and more dog talk. Our second day rivaled the first in all aspects. The dogs were prime, the birds were sublime, and our shooting was good enough. I reveled in the beauty of the hard-pointing dogs and their flushing companions. In one fond memory, a shorthair otherwise frozen glanced back just slightly as if to say, "Send in the English." The cocker was sent, and 25 quail took flight all at once. Nothing could have prepared this unassuming Northwoodser for that spectacular moment. As we moved into the pines for the latter half of the morning, Hank, a classic English pointer, found covey after covey amidst the streams of sunlight, his tail serving as our guiding light as we prepared for each flush and rise. This was what brought me to finally consider the sense of place at Fishing Creek. Farms. Sense of place is everything, if you ask me. In the North Woods, it's hemlocks, frost, drumming grouse, Stewart's gas stations, and the smell of a nearby wood stove. Wool clothing and old American double guns. En route to Georgia, I was eager to find out what the sense of place would be at FCF. It was there with Hank, looking like a Bob Whale sculpture in a sea of grass and pine. It was a beautiful blessing given before a homestyle meal. It was white hats and whistling quail. It was quality company and a cradled, broke-open double gun. It was the ever-present feeling of family while so far from home. As we enjoyed one more magnificent meal and prepared to say goodbye, I could not shake one particular thought. It was that, in another life, I believe I would have enjoyed working for Mr. Taylor there at the farm. The FCF team is a family, plain and simple. They lead with class and grace, and I'll not soon forget any one of them nor the wonderful moments they afforded me. On the drive back to the airport, Ernie and I played a game. We threw out one word at a time to try and describe the feeling and experience we just had at Fishing Creek. Sincere, intimate, perfect. Filled with gratitude and with a newfound admiration for quail and a hope to return to Georgia some future December, I made the trip home to my wife and my own bird dog. To Christmas and single-digit temperatures. To a North Country winter filled with late-season grouse hunts and warm memories of Fishing Creek farms.